Well, good morning. Welcome to the Arctic. Actually, not quite. Ireland. It's snowy. And you know, what's a photographer to do when it's snowing? Get out in the car. Let's do it.
It takes so little just to make me smile, but you don't seem to be around. My body aches for someone who makes me right, but you don't seem to take the time. You're on a mission now, I know you can't get out.
Well, good morning again. Well, that was an interesting morning. So literally after I'd finished filming that intro, I was actually at maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred meters up, and the snow really came down hard. So I went for a bit of a walk, and it was snowing an absolute hooey. There was no chance of doing any photography really. Got a few shots of various bits and pieces. I kind of thought, you know what, if this carries on, I looked at the weather forecast, if this carries on, I could get snowed in here. And I kind of, well, where I was potentially would have been a nice area. It's not, you know, wonderful. So I decided to come back down again, and unfortunately I then spent 45 minutes in heavy traffic, people slipping and sliding. But this is the River Bann, just outside Coleraine, and I love it here during frosty conditions. Now, what you really want is kind of frosty conditions with the morning heating up, and you get a little bit of mist coming off the river. But what I really love is these red trees. Not red trees, they're red in colour in winter. And what I'm trying to do is kind of just get a little bit of movement of a little bit of that snow coming past them. So I think actually the snow's starting to stop a little bit. Now there is another little wood just across the way, and you can actually get up into sort of slightly higher elevation, so I think that's my next move. I'm going to take a wander up there. So snow, we don't get it that often here in the North Coast, so when it comes, you got to be in it. So I like to play a little bit of not a game, but just sort of test myself. How often when you get back to the digital darkroom do you notice something in your image that you really wish you had noticed in the field? Happens to us all. So what I really try to do now, obviously that's what we're trying to do as part of the composition conundrum. First and foremost, make sure that we don't have anything in the frame that we think is distracting or an element that maybe doesn't work. And in this scene here, there's a kind of a trunk of a tree. There's a trunk of a tree that's covered in ivy. I'm just not sure that green flash through it works. Now, I'm still taking the image, and at least I've noticed it here. And now you may say, well, of course you notice it, it's green. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you get waylaid by the conditions, sometimes you get kind of rushed into a composition, whatever. So the fact that I have seen the green, at least I can sort of say to myself when I got back to the home office, okay, it doesn't work, or maybe it will, but at least I was able to spot that in the field. It's a shame because I quite like the contrast of the red of the trees and the snow behind, the green behind, and then the sort of almost skeletal look of the branches above the red trees. Just that green flash is kind of ruining it. And what I could do is I've got the 1:400 on me here, and that would allow me to zoom in more. I'm right at the limit of this 18:135, so I might give that a go to see whether I can exclude the green. Snow makes even the most mundane little woodland and landscape just look absolutely beautiful. And I love the sound of snow crunching below your feet. Right, let's go see whether we can find something. So that snow is well and truly stopped now, and we have little breaks in the clouds, which is allowing for the light to come out. Now, this is obviously a well-trodden little woodland, so the chances of getting pristine snow is not very likely. But what sort of caught my eye as I was walking back along was just as the light's coming through, of course you're getting some of that lovely glow on the snow. And what's really kind of catching me is just you can actually make out little parts of the fence. Now, I wouldn't normally include a raggedy old fence, barbed wire fence, in the composition, but I think it just helps maybe just to break up the composition a little bit. And of course that light, it's mostly all about the light, to be honest, just glistening off the snow and the frost encrusted branches, so not too shabby. Oh, this is just absolutely beautiful. Just that light streaming through that frost encrusted branches. What's not to like, eh? Well, that was very odd. I kind of climbed up higher and the snow started to disappear. Most peculiar. I mean, one of the things I think you've got to be quite careful of when shooting in these wintry conditions like this is that you just don't point your camera at anything. It can be really tempting to, because everything does look quite pretty in snow. But does that translate to a workable image? So, kind of lost a little bit of that light now, and while it is nice to walk through, I'm just not really feeling it. It's quite messy. A bunch of trees are down and things like that. So we'll keep on wandering though, in both metaphorically speaking and physically. So another one of those situations that I don't think is working. It's a kind of stereotypical sort of woodland snowy scene. Lots of trees, kind of snow on the ground, and the trunks of the trees are all sort of separated. Some have got a nice kink in them. I think the problem why this isn't working is because a lot of them have kind of other branches sort of coming out of their trunks, and so they're not all uniform in terms of sort of straight up and down. And also could do with another centimetre or two of snow, but anyway. And also a dog tried to pee on my tripod leg. Well, I think that's actually it. Things are starting to melt in the nice places, so just gonna call it quits. I gotta go back, do a little bit of work, but hope you've enjoyed this little quick jaunt out. Say this area anyway, even without the snow, is probably one of my favourite places when it comes to frosty conditions, just because of those red trees. And you can see now behind me, taking on some of that early morning light as well, they really glow up. I might throw up a couple of images from this location in different conditions as well, but as always, thanks for watching. I'm off home to get a coffee. We'll catch up again soon. Bye bye.